Caiden Cowger. Somebody had to say it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, hello, welcome to the Caiden Cowger program, broadcasting from West Virginia. It is great to have you with us. So I've got some great news. Apparently, IHOP is not changing its name. It was just a great big nothing burger. IHOP decided to temporarily change its name to the International House of Burgers. They ran this big publicity stunt saying that they were changing their name from IHOP to IHOB. IHOB. And they were doing this big thing where they were having their customers guess what the B stands for in IHOB. And then their customers, many of them thought it was International House of Breakfast. But IHOP ended up announcing that it was International House of Burgers. And they did all this to promote their new line of burgers that are coming out, and that's all that this was. So once again, your humble host got it right. This was just a big publicity stunt that was solely designed for promotion of a new line of burgers that they have coming out. And, of course, as I said in the last episode, a ton of people thought that it was just going to be the International House of Bacon or something. They were going to just make it bacon-themed, a bacon-themed restaurant now. And, of course, they're not going to do bacon because then they wouldn't have any Muslim customers coming in. They'd be Islamophobic, also labeled by the media. So, therefore, they are no longer going to be changing their name to IHOB. It's now IHOP still. Just a big publicity stunt, according to CNBC. CNBC reported IHOP isn't changing its name. It's just promoting its new line of burgers to lure in diners after the breakfast lunch, or after the breakfast rush, that is. IHOP is adding 7 new burgers to its menu. And it makes sense to that degree why they would be adding the burgers, because essentially what was happening is that a ton of people were just flooding IHOP during breakfast, but when it came to lunch and dinner, no one was coming. So, that's just a horrible thing for them because they're losing out on a ton of customers that don't want breakfast, in the afternoon and in the evening for dinner. So they wanted to present themselves as being more of a restaurant that provides more variety. So you have breakfast in the morning. You can also have lunch and dinner at IHOP. So they're trying to, in other words, make it known that they are serving 3 meals a day rather than just serving breakfast all the time. So, yeah, the company has rebranded itself IHOB temporarily to promote the line of burgers. However, the name is not a permanent change. IHOP had burgers on its menu since it first opened in 1958, but its identity has long been tied to its wide variety of pancakes and breakfast offerings. IHOP created quite a stir when it told Twitter users that it would be changing the last letter of its acronym from a P to a B, teasing major changes for the brand. However, the company won't be IHOB for long. On Monday, the company announced that the change was just a promotion for its new line of burgers in an effort to rebrand its restaurants and lure in diners after the breakfast rush. IHOP is adding, 7 new burgers to its menu, blah, 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 blah. According to Brad Haley, the chief marketing officer for IHOP Restaurants, that apparently is responsible for this stunt, he expressed that everyone knows that IHOP makes world-famous pancakes, so we felt like the best way to convince them that we are serious about our new line of ultimate steak burgers, as we are about our pancakes, was to change our name to IHOP. And, of course, doing so temporarily. No, the reason why you decided to do that was because you knew it'd be a big publicity stunt that would get you on all the alphabet networks on cable, that would get you on all the news networks, and it'd just create this big stir and big controversy. IHOP is now IHOP. We're changing the P to a B. And then people would be freaking out over it, and that's exactly what happened, and they got, what they wanted. So it was a successful publicity stunt, in other words. So, yeah, while restaurants like IHOP are able to get customers through the door in the wee morning hours, keeping them coming after 11 a.m. has been a struggle for IHOP. So IHOP has been unable to keep customers coming in large numbers after 11 a.m. So that's why they're doing this thing. So that makes sense. They created a publicity stunt, and now we can all go back to our wonderful lives where IHOP is IHOP and not IHOP. So that was a little bit of controversy that has taken place over the past few weeks. Now let's move on to something else that we have going on. North Korea. Donald Trump met with Kim Jong-un, and it was the Singapore summit that took place earlier this week, and it's being viewed as being a success, although, of course, we're not going to be able to tell if it's fully successful until you see more observations of North Korea and you have verification that their nuclear program is coming to a complete halt and is going to be terminated. But North Korea has been testing nuclear, missiles and arms and stuff for quite some time, and essentially what this deal is supposed to do is that it's supposed to cause and result in nuclear disarmament of North Korea. Okay, and North Korea is a country that is right between China and South Korea. If they would get militarized nuclear weapons, that is, then it would just be an absolute nightmare for South Korea, our allies over there, which we also have soldiers stationed over in South Korea still. And then in addition to that, it would be a nightmare, of course, for China. So it was just a mess all around. I have high hopes that this could be successful and that there will be North Korean nuclear disarmament. But, who knows at this point? They're liars. They're snakes. Donald Trump was saying some rather kind words about Kim Jong-un, and the reason for that, a lot of people can't read Trump, and I don't understand why they have such trouble doing it, because it's easy to do. You just have to understand how his mind works, what he does, and you have to just study the way that he has behaved his entire life. He has enemies, but if he's trying to negotiate a deal with his enemies, then of course he's not going to say these people are awful, they are horrible people, and then just go all out attacking them like he did. And essentially what is happening here is that Donald Trump started making some rather kind remarks about Kim Jong-un. And he said he's a smart man. It's one of the remarks that he made, which, to a degree, he runs an entire nation. He knows exactly very well what he's doing. I didn't like Obama, but Obama was a smart man. He knew what he was doing. Adolf Hitler knew what he was doing. Okay, so saying that someone is smart is not necessarily a compliment in every sense. It's just an acknowledgement of they know how to do things. You can be smart and be evil at the same time, and you can be smart and be kind at the same time. So saying that someone is a smart individual is not necessarily, a positive compliment. You can be, a evil genius, as, you see with a lot of villains that are described in, various comics and so forth. So, saying that he's smart, it's a compliment, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that the guy's not evil. So what Donald Trump was basically doing here, and Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro's organization, was making some rather intriguing remarks in response to this, saying, how dare you lift up a dictator, which at the same time, I don't think that Trump is lifting up a dictator. I think he's trying to get North Korea and the United States on speaking terms so that we can try to, sort this out. And here's the thing. Chuck Schumer, not too long ago, was on the Senate floor, or he called into, no, it wasn't Senate floor. That's what he did recently. Chuck Schumer called into a news agency on TV. I think it was ABC, NBC, something like that. It was one of the alphabet networks. And Chuck Schumer said that Donald Trump, if he can arrange this and he can successfully denuclearize North Korea, it will be successful. It will be a big accomplishment in his administration. Well, now Donald Trump has sat down with the North Korean supreme leader, and that's essentially what is happening. North Korea is being disarmed, and it's going to have to be verified, of course, but at least it's, you're speaking to the guy that's in charge of North Korea. Well, anyway, he's arranging this deal, actually meeting with the leader of North Korea to further discuss this and to ensure that this is going to follow through and to try to bring more stability in this decision and in this deal. Well, anyway, Chuck Schumer was on the Senate floor recently and said that Donald Trump is legitimizing North Korea. Okay, so here we go from saying if Donald Trump is able to get this deal to work out, then this will be a major accomplishment in his administration. Then, now that he's getting the deal to work out, Chuck Schumer's on the Senate floor saying that he's legitimizing a dictator because he's negotiating with him and he's publicly appearing with him. Okay, here's the thing. Obama met with Hugo Chavez. Obama met with the Castros. Obama even lifted sanctions on Cuba as a result of all this mess. And what did the Democrats do? They praised Obama for it. They didn't say that Obama is legitimizing dictators. No. And Donald Trump is not even trying to form an alliance with North Korea. That's not what's happening here at all. He's just trying to get little Rocket Man to see it his way. And that's another thing. The media attacks Donald Trump when he refers to Kim Jong-un as little Rocket Man. But the moment that he then starts saying, he's a smart guy, he inherited a lot of pressure from his father dying early, and then at age 27 he was thrown in this dictatorial position, which is true, and that did in fact happen. And I'll be honest, I don't know how smart this guy is or how prepared he is to be in a leadership position or what his mental stability is. Don't know a thing about the guy or how the guy really operates. And all that, you want me to tell you what it looks like to me, quite frankly? Have you ever seen, it's a bad show. I didn't like it, but it was like a movie called World Police or something. And they had clips on it on YouTube, and there was this one clip that went viral of Kim Jong-il, which was Kim Jong-un's father. And it was basically Kim Jong-il singing a song called I'm won we, so won we, I'm won we. That's exactly how I think that they feel. That's exactly how I think that Kim Jong-un feels. I'm won we, so won we, oh, I'm so won we. I think that he is just a depressed guy that is lonely, that doesn't have any friends, and even though he's the leader of an entire nation, he is secluded. And some of the seclusion is his own doing by killing people that are around him because he's afraid that they are going to kill him and remove him from his position of power, and that there's going to be a coup, or that the military is going to take over and it's going to be a military-operated nation where the military is in charge and the generals are in charge and they don't even need a supreme leader. So I don't know fully how this guy thinks. The reason why I think that he's just like this introverted, lonely kind of figure that is just tyrannical but depressed and at the same time evil to a degree, but not as evil as he is lonely and depressed, is because of his relationship with Dennis Rodman. I mean, he is having a friendship with Dennis Rodman, a basketball player that just flies over to North Korea, and he's like, oh, I want to be friends with the basketball player because I don't have any friends. And I think that that's essentially what it is. I think that this is a guy that is secluded, that is lonely, and that's part of the reason for his behavior. So at the same time, while this might be recognized by some Democrats as legitimizing a dictator, which they never accused Obama of regarding the Castros, and they never accused Obama of regarding Hugo Chavez, I think that it could either be bringing him into the world stage and getting attention that he desires, and maybe he views this as legitimizing him, or what could be taking place is that he could be finally beginning to recognize that there's a bigger world out there and he needs to, quite frankly, straighten up and become more of a serious figure that is respected in the world. It could have, either impact, and it's probably not going to be great, but we'll see.
Fighting liberalism one lie at a time. Caiden Cowger. Somebody had to say it.
My good friend George Lujek is an independent Messianic minister and founder of Scripture Truth Ministries. He also serves as the managing editor of CowgerNation.com. He's recently written a controversial behemoth 700-page book titled Mysteries of the Scriptures Revealed. Mysteries of the Scriptures Revealed covers a whole host of biblical topics and boldly proclaims Scripture as it has never been presented before. The greatest Scripture study, compilation, and deception-defeating, truth-revealing book of all time ever written, bringing the whole Christian denominational church system under question, shaking the foundational teachings of the popular mainstream but misled Christian mindset. 2,000 years of mainstream Christian doctrines, practices, and traditions dismantled in one book. Centuries of Christian denominational lies exposed, rabbinical Judaism's errors examined and corrected, grace-only, easy believism, no need to repent, really? Have you actually been born again? Are you once saved, always saved? Is Yeshua, Jesus, God? Did he fulfill and abolish the law? Are the dietary laws of clean and unclean creatures ceremonial or perpetual? And do they apply today? What happens to people when they die? Science confirmed by Scripture, the age of the earth. The extinction of dinosaurs explained, and the theory of evolution debunked. Scripture prophecy meticulously researched and presented in stunning, easy-to-follow, precise detail. The raptures, Babylon the Great, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, the 7 trumpets of Revelation, Mystery Babylon, the Great Tribulation, 666, and other prophetic terms deciphered and explained as you have never heard before, and so much more. Mysteries of the Scriptures Revealed is available in paperback and ebook formats at lulu.com, amazon.com, and barnesandnoble.com. That is Mysteries of the Scriptures Revealed.
You're listening to the home of Caiden Cowger on your local station, America's youngest syndicated talk personality.
Hey guys, let me tell you about our sponsor, NerdProWriting.com. NerdProWriting.com assists students in middle school, high school, and college with writing essays, and they do so as a service. They're a relatively new company, just started this year. For more information, you can go to NerdProWriting.com. That is NerdProWriting.com. Once again, that is Nerd, N-E-R-D, Pro, P-R-O, Writing.com.
Have a brand, organization, or business? Consider becoming a sponsor of the Caiden Cowger program. Reaching over 6 states, the Caiden Cowger program offers wide coverage. I'm sure you've heard that radio is dead, but research shows that 93% of Americans listen to the radio, including 92% of millennials. That's greater than television, internet, and smartphone usage. Radio isn't dead. After all, aren't you hearing this? 84% of drivers cite radio as their primary in-car entertainment device. This means your sponsorship spot is reaching consumers closest to their point of purchase. In addition, talk is the second most listened to radio format. Sponsoring the Caiden Cowger program is actually quite simple. We tell our listeners who you are, what your business does, and how to get in touch with you. It helps you and keeps our program on the air. For more information, go to www.CaidenCowgerProgram.com/sponsor. That's www.CaidenCowgerProgram.com/sponsor.
This is President Donald J. Trump, and I would like to tell you, all of my loyal supporters, and you're all very loyal, to listen to the Caiden Cowger program on your local station. Caiden Cowger is a great guy, does an amazing job, loves Trump, and is making radio great again. His show is huge. Also, his Twitter account, @Caiden Cowger, is very big league. So big league, it's almost as good as Trump's. So go ahead and give him a follow. Let's make his Twitter followers number greater than Rosie O'Donnell's poor bathroom scale. Now that would be an accomplishment. You can also give him a follow on Instagram via @Caiden Cowger. Thank you, and let's make radio and America great again.
Caiden Cowger. Somebody had to say it.
And here's the thing, guys. You know, the United States has paid off North Korea for years. And everyone is making it out like Donald Trump is legitimizing this dictator, the ones on the left, the members of the left, whereas if Obama would do something like this, then it would be praised. However, here's the thing. North Korea, every time they have had a nuclear stunt like this, it's a fact. They have thrown a massive temper tantrum. They ask for the United States to give them money. The United States gives them money to stop their temper tantrum, just like a kid that is, you know, pounding the floor in Toys R Us. Well, Toys R Us is going out now, so pounding the floor in Walmart, saying, "Mommy, I want a toy! I want that!" And, you know, then what ends up happening is that he's throwing this massive temper tantrum in the store, and his mom buys him the Matchbox car that he's, you know, whining over. And that's essentially what the United States did with North Korea in this massive temper tantrum that they have been throwing for years. We pay them off so that they stop their nuclear program, and then boom, it's done. And then they wait a few years, and then when they need more money, then they throw another temper tantrum, then the United States gives them money. So overall, Kim Jong-il is not getting Kim Jong-un, that is. Kim Jong-il was his dad that died. Kim Jong-un is not getting what he wants because Donald Trump is not giving him money. The United States is not giving North Korea money. They're just talking. Maybe North Korea thinks that the United States is eventually going to give them money in order to compensate all this. But as of right now, no. That's not what is happening at all. It's just trying to talk some sense into this country. And it's not like Donald Trump is trying to become this guy's best friend. But I will tell you that if there would be some sort of understanding that North Korea could have and the United States could have, and perhaps if Donald Trump would be able to talk some sense into the guy that is in charge of North Korea, it is possible that we could see a similar effect happen in North Korea that happened over in Russia. Russia is better than where it was with the USSR. And what occurred over there is that Gorbachev really dissolved the USSR, and he was a dictator over there. He was a guy that was a supreme leader of Russia. He dissolved the USSR and turned it into a democracy, regardless of, you know, how legitimate the democracy is over there. Because, you know, anyone that runs against Putin somehow winds up dead. They're dead on arrival. And nevertheless, it's still a democracy that exists in Russia, to a degree. Not a great democracy regarding representative democracy, but it is a democracy to a degree, a republic or whatever you want to call it. But here's the thing, guys. With North Korea, perhaps in communicating with people that actually have their mind in a sane rational operation, that is. People that actually have a rational thought process is what I'm trying to say. If he would have communications with people that have reasonable, rational thought processes, it is possible, I think, for him to maybe see the struggles of his people and for living conditions in North Korea to improve. Hopefully. We're talking about a goal here. A goal in which I'm very skeptical can be reached. It's hard to tell if they are serious or if they're being fake. Because it's North Korea. You don't fully know how they think, how they operate. And Donald Trump has tried to say, well, the people in North Korea love him. All right, what the media doesn't understand is that is a flippant remark to try to not be hostile to Kim Jong-un. Donald Trump made that remark that the people over North Korea love Kim Jong-un. Donald Trump's trying to not be hostile because they're in the middle of a nuclear disarmament agreement. If Donald Trump would say, yeah, he's a brutal dictator that wants to kill everybody, he's an insane man, you honestly think that they're going to be able to that they're able to reach a negotiation? In other words, you can track more bees with honey. Okay? That's what Donald Trump is attempting to do here. He's saying things that can be said about North Korea that are considered nice and interpreted as being nice over there. But at the same time, he is still being rather flippant in his remarks. Because I agree with Donald Trump. The people over there in North Korea do love the dictator. I mean, they worship him like a god. And the reason why is because they're afraid of him. But at the same time, they believe that America is the great devil that they need to wipe out. They believed that for years. And the people over there, if they were joining the North Korea military, if we go to war again, they would join the North Korean army and fight diligently the whole time. Because people of those nations feel empowered when they join the military. They feel like they are something, like they are empowered, that they're part of something, that they're part of an iron fist. And that really just gives them this arrogance and pride that goes along with joining the military in nations that are tyrannical like this. So the people that are part of this tyrannical system, and it doesn't take much, you just have to join the military and you're part of it. And that's one of the bigger operations in North Korea that a lot of people belong to. Then yeah, it can be accurate to say that the people love Kim Jong-un and love North Korea because they are part, in their own microscopic position, they're part of the tyrannical system that exists. So, for Donald Trump to say that the people in North Korea love Kim Jong-un, that's an accurate remark to make because the people that are predominantly living in North Korea are part of the tyrannical system through the government. So, again, what Donald Trump is trying to do here is that he's trying to attract more people with honey. He's trying to attract Kim Jong-un with honey. Does he really like Kim Jong-un? No, he called him Little Rocket Man in the United Nations. All right, and the media hounded him for that. How dare Donald Trump call this guy Little Rocket Man? He's going to get California blown up. They were just shaking in their boots, afraid of little Kim Jong-un. He's going to cause a nuke to be dropped on the United States. But now that something is actually being done and they're actually negotiating things and talking things through, talking things out, now he's being recognized as legitimizing a dictator. So, can't win. By the way, David Hogg, the guy that is the Parkland survivor or whatever, he's the anti-gun activist who has a fitting last name. But anyway, David Hogg has lost a major thing that he was pulling for. According to the New York Post, there was this guy in Maine City that, I guess he was a mayor, and he faced a recall vote on Tuesday, and he had directed a tweet at David Hogg, one of the survivors of the Parkland school shooting, and it caused him to get a bunch of backlash. Well, anyway, David Hogg called for a recall election. Somehow the liberals were able to arrange that, and it occurred. This is according to the New York Post. Voters in a central Maine city have decided not to recall a mayor who came under criticism after using social media to tell one of the survivors of a Florida school shooting to, quote-unquote, eat it. He just said eat it. Waterville Mayor Nick Esgro faced the recall vote on Tuesday, and he directed the April tweet at David Hogg, one of the survivors of a shooting that resulted in the death of 17 students at the Florida high school in Parkland. Hogg, an advocate for strengthening gun laws, no, an anti-gun advocate, let's be honest, or he is an advocate for that. Isgro was tweeting in response to a Fox News decision to stand behind pro-gun rights commentator Laura Ingraham in the wake of an advertiser boycott. Isgro made the case that failed recall attempt was actually an effort to get him out of office so that he can't veto the city's budget. City manager Michael Rohr had disputed the claim. But anyway, what is taking place here is that the mayor of this Colorado city mocked David Hogg, Nick Isgro, I-S-G-R-O, however you want to pronounce it. He mocked David Hogg. They called for a recall election, and the recall failed. So oink, oink, take that, David Hogg.
Some say he's the next Rush Limbaugh.
I tell you, this kid's got 90% of Rush's venom with only 10% of the biomass.
Caiden Cowger. Somebody had to say it.
Hey guys, so let me introduce you to a great website called mugthebookie.com. That is mugthebookie.com. They have a wide range of sports picks and sports news to choose from. You go onto the website and right there you'll find a bunch of news articles pertaining to sports, be it football, basketball, hockey, and all the others. Go to mugthebookie.com. That is mug, M-U-G, the T-H-E, bookie, BOOKIE.com.
So, you want to learn Japanese. You've tried all sorts of apps that mostly let you type answers and click on pictures. Can somebody please let me talk? Okay, Fluency 365 is here. Click on speak.fluency365.com. That's the numbers 365. Speak.fluency365.com. The only learning platform that gives you daily virtual speaking practice. To try your first virtual Japanese conversation now, visit speak.fluency365.com. Fluency only happens when you talk. Speak.fluency365.com.
Like the Fiancé, sung by Unit of Elite.
So do any of you ladies out there want to learn more about what makes men tick and how they work? Subscribe today to TG2M Magazine, also known as Talk Geeky to Me Magazine, founded by technology founder and editor-in-chief Casey Austin. If they like it, think about it, eat it, drink it, or wear it, TG2M talks about it. Their website is TG2mmagazine.com. That is TG2mmagazine.com. Their Instagram is at TalkGeekyToMe10. Their Twitter is KCKAYECEETG2M. So you can check out TG2mmagazine.com. Hey guys, let me tell you about our sponsor, NerdProWriting.com. NerdProWriting.com assists students in middle school, high school, in college with writing essays, and they do so as a service. They're a relatively new company, just started this year. For more information, you can go to nerdprowriting.com. That is nerdprowriting.com. Once again, that is nerd, N-E-R-D, pro, P-R-O, writing.com.
Have a brand, organization, or business? Consider becoming a sponsor of the Caiden Cowger program. Reaching over 6 states, the Caiden Cowger program offers wide coverage. I'm sure you've heard that radio is dead, but research shows that 93% of Americans listen to the radio, including 92% of millennials. That's greater than television, internet, and smartphone usage. Radio isn't dead. After all, aren't you hearing this? 84% of drivers cite radio as their primary in-car entertainment device. This means your sponsorship spot is reaching consumers closest to their point of purchase. In addition, talk is the second most listened to radio format. Sponsoring the Caiden Cowger program is actually quite simple. We tell our listeners who you are, what your business does, and how to get in touch with you. It helps you and keeps our program on the air. For more information, go to www.CaidenCowgerProgram.com/sponsor. That's www.CaidenCowgerProgram.com/sponsor.
This is President Donald J. Trump, and I would like to tell you, all of my loyal supporters, and you're all very loyal, to listen to the Caiden Cowger program on your local station. Caiden Cowger is a great guy, does an amazing job, loves Trump, and is making radio great again. His show is huge. Also, his Twitter account, @Caiden Cowger, is very bigly. So bigly, it's almost as good as Trump's. So go ahead and give him a follow. Let's make his Twitter followers number greater than Rosie O'Donnell's poor bathroom scale. Now that would be an accomplishment. You can also give him a follow on Instagram via @Caiden Cowger. Thank you, and let's make radio and America great again.
Caiden Cowger. Somebody had to say it.
So Donald Trump is making controversy again. Donald Trump is once again making waves, and he said that reporters are worse than dictators. This is according to the DailyMail.com. Trump ramps up war with fake news media as he calls CNN and NBC our country's greatest enemy right after the North Korea nuclear summit. So this is according to the Daily Mail by David Martisco, and he's the U.S. political editor for the Daily Mail. President Donald Trump said on Twitter Wednesday that fake news outlets, including TV networks that he loves to hate, are our country's biggest enemy. Trump had hours earlier returned from Singapore, where he began to negotiate a nuclear stand-down with North Korea, a belligerent communist dictator. He praised the leader, Kim Jong-un, and said that North Korea has great potential for the future. Not so for the political press corps. Now, here's the thing, guys. Again, the reason why Donald Trump is making favorable remarks for North Korea is because they're in the middle of developing an agreement that would denuclearize the country. If he comes out and says the guy's a nut job that is going to blow up the world, little rocket man, and calls him that again, then what's going to end up happening is that little Kim Jong-un is going to get his little 4-year-old feelings hurt, and then he's going to start blowing up stuff. So Donald Trump is trying to attract more bees with honey. That's all that's going on here, okay? So anyway, Donald Trump praised this guy, didn't really even praise this guy. He just made a remark that was intended to be nice to try again to attract more bees with honey, but he slammed the news media. 500 days ago, they would have begged for this deal. Looked like war would break out. Our country's biggest enemy is the fake news so easily promulgated by fools. And that's what Donald Trump said on Twitter. So, yeah. And that's true. He is absolutely right. A few years ago, or a few days ago, Donald Trump, hit the nail on the head. The media would have been begging for an agreement like this. As a matter of fact, they were begging for an agreement like this. When Donald Trump came out in the United Nations and called Kim Jong-un Little Rocket Man, everyone in CNN land and all the alphabet networks were attacking Donald Trump, saying he is unstable. He's just as nutty as the North Korean guy. Matter of fact, some were even saying that Trump is crazier than the guy from North Korea. They were making it out like this North Korea guy was more civilized than Donald Trump, praising the North Korea guy, the North Korea leader, when he played this story of this guy that was from North Korea being held hostage in North Korea, and then was eventually released. And he had that guy at his not inauguration, but his State of the Union, that is. What was the media doing? They were downplaying it as being not a big deal. This guy, is, just making a mountain out of a molehill, further agitating North Korea. Now that Donald Trump is sitting down and having a conversation with him, despite the harsh rhetoric that he once engaged in, and they're all smiles, then the media just doesn't know what to think. So now they're saying that Donald Trump is legitimizing a dictator. It honestly does not matter what this guy does. The media, the fake news media, CNN, ABC, NBC, CBS, all of these news agencies are going to portray Donald Trump negatively because they do not like Trump. And let's be honest, the reason why a lot of these people in the media don't like Trump is because Trump can't be controlled. The media in this country for years has been used to being the dominant ones when it comes to public conversation. They love being in positions of power. I think that many members of the media, considering that the media has political agendas of their own, I think that many members of the media honestly view their role in being reporters and commentators, which actually there isn't much of a difference anymore. I think that they honestly view their role as being more important than in a position of leadership like the presidency or like a senatorial position or, anything of the nature. And the reason why is because they can bully people, bully politicians into complying with the agenda that they have and cause public perception of them to shift. So therefore, the media views their role in this country as being more important and as being more powerful than being in any leadership position. And now that they're having that power stripped away by Donald Trump, they're upset about it. They're mad about it. And they want Donald Trump to go away. So therefore, no matter what the man does, be it in compliance with what they formerly wanted, or be it in a complete rejection of what they want, they're going to portray him negatively because he's not controlled by the press in this country. He does his own thing. And if he needs to communicate with the American people, he doesn't go through them to do it in a press release. He just uses Twitter. And they find out about stuff the same exact way that we do as average Americans. So that's essentially what is taking place here. And with Donald Trump meeting with Kim Jong-un, it is either going to be a great positive thing that is going to lead to North Korea kind of settling down a little bit and knocking off the temper tantrums, or it's all just a show that's, making good news for a week. So we'll see what happens. It was an historic moment, nevertheless, and we'll see what comes of it. According to AFP News Service, this was reported on yahoo.com, there's a lot of grim news for U.S. newspapers, according to a survey. There's a troubled picture for U.S. newspapers, and they are becoming even grimmer. They were grim in 2017. They're getting worse. There were declines in revenue, both print and digital readership. And this is according to a new research report that showed on Wednesday. The newspaper industry has been declining for the past decade, and the latest drops suggesting deepening woes for the sector despite a handful of large publications that have been showing signs of growth. Pew Research Center found that U.S. daily newspaper circulation, print and digital combined, was at 31 million for weekday and 34 million for Sunday in 2017. That is down 11 and 10% respectively from the previous year. So in a year, they lost 10 percentage points. 10 to 11 percentage points in a year. So, guys, all you need is that in 10 years, they're done. There'll be practically nothing if it continues to decline at this rate. But the researchers excluded digital circulation figures from two major newspapers, the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, whose subscriber data is not audited. The New York Times reported a 42% gain in digital circulation, and the Wall Street Journal a 26% rise. If the independently produced figures were included in both 2016 and 2017, weekday digital circulation would have risen by 10%, according to Pew. But even if it included digital gains for the two big dailies, overall combined weekday circulation for U.S. newspapers would still be down by 4% in 2017, according to the report. Pew researcher Mike Barthel said that the factors, or one of the factors, which may have affected the survey, was that 2017 was a post-election year. And that is true. More people read political newspapers and read more publications regarding news during political years, during election years. And that's what we saw regarding the election with Donald Trump. I made more money from my news outlets that year than I did in any other year that I've had things going. And that was 2016. And, with all the dirty campaigning that was taking place, people were glued to news publications, especially news publications that were alternative and covering things that none of the major networks would. And it was a great year for alternative media, 2016. Made a lot of money that year. But I'm telling you, in-print publications are out the door. They are leaving. Podcasting is becoming more popular. Digital radio is becoming more popular, especially with these Alexa and Google Home devices. So, it's a shifting media marketplace. It really is. It's a shifting. The way that people consume media is changing on a regular basis. And, it's hard to tell where we'll be in 10 years. We'll see. Something else could, come up in the future, and or different other type of devices could become more mainstream and popularized. So it is constantly a shifting way of consumption that we see with media and news as we know it.
Caiden Cowger. Keeping America straight. Caiden Cowger. Somebody had to say it.
Hey guys, so let me tell you about a great company, NerdProWriting.com. NerdPro Writing is absolutely wonderful. They assist students in middle school, in high school, in college with writing essays, and they're a company that can be of great help if you know somebody or if you are the one struggling in getting your work turned in. They have absolutely great professional services at a very affordable cost, so go there right now. That is NerdProWriting.com. That is NERDPRO Writing.com.
Refresh, replenish, restore, and hydrate the right way with Progene Premium Electrolyte Enhanced Water. Unlock the alkaline pH performance power of professional athlete developed and fitness community endorsed Progene Water. Available in 9.5 pH electrolyte enhanced or our new all natural 8.0 pH additive free mineral spring water. Available at 7-Eleven and online at Amazon.com. Progene Water, hydrating the world one bottle at a time.
So you want to learn Spanish. You've tried all sorts of apps that mostly let you type answers and click on pictures. Can somebody please let me talk? Okay, Fluency 365 is here. Click on speak.fluency365.com. That's the numbers 365. Speak.fluency365.com. The only learning platform that gives you daily virtual speaking practice. To try your first virtual Spanish conversation now, visit speak.fluency365.com. Fluency only happens when you talk. Speak.fluency365.com.
Like the Fiancé, sung by Unit of Elite.
You're listening to the home of Caiden Cowger on your local station, America's youngest syndicated talk personality.
Have a brand, organization, or business? Consider becoming a sponsor of the Caiden Cowger program. Reaching over 6 states, the Caiden Cowger program offers wide coverage. I'm sure you've heard that radio is dead, but research shows that 93% of Americans listen to the radio, including 92% of millennials. That's greater than television, internet, and smartphone usage. Radio isn't dead. After all, aren't you hearing this? 84% of drivers cite radio as their primary in-car entertainment device. This means your sponsorship spot is reaching consumers closest to their point of purchase. In addition, talk is the second most listened to radio format. Sponsoring the Caiden Cowger program is actually quite simple. We tell our listeners who you are, what your business does, and how to get in touch with you. It helps you and keeps our program on the air. For more information, go to www.CaidenCowgerProgram.com/sponsor.
Like what you hear? We need your support. Consider becoming a patron of the Caiden Cowger program. As a member, you'll gain access to exclusive content only available to patrons of the show. Your subscription will help fund equipment, projects, promotion, and overall production of the broadcast. To join, go to www.patreon.com/Caiden Cowger. That's www.patreon.com/Caiden Cowger. Again, www.patreon.com/Caiden Cowger. And thanks.
This is President Donald J. Trump, and I would like to tell you, all of my loyal supporters, and you're all very loyal, to listen to the Caiden Cowger program on your local station. Caiden Cowger is a great guy, does an amazing job, loves Trump, and is making radio great again. His show is huge. Also, his Twitter account, @Caiden Cowger, is very bigly. So bigly, it's almost as good as Trump's. So go ahead and give him a follow. Let's make his Twitter followers number greater than Rosie O'Donnell's poor bathroom scale. Now that would be an accomplishment. You can also give him a follow on Instagram via @Caiden Cowger. Thank you, and let's make radio and America great again.
Caiden Cowger. Somebody had to say it.
So the CEO of the New York Times is coming out against Facebook's new algorithm. And this is what he said. This is according to the Daily Caller. New York Times CEO Mark Thompson cast serious doubt on Tuesday about tech companies closely trusting algorithms to help determine which news stories are fraudulent or misleading. And he thinks that this is going to greatly damage democracy. I agree with him. Because what is going to happen with a lot of these new algorithms that they're developing is that if there's a truthful news story out there, but a lot of people don't like it, all the people have to do is just report it or downvote it as being fake news. And the next thing you know, these algorithms are going to say, well, if this many people are saying that this is fake, then it must be. So if you have an exclusive story that you're publishing in a publication and you report it and it starts circulating around, but you're the only one that reported it because it's an exclusive, then all that has to happen is that people just have to flag it as being fake news, and the next thing you know, it's pulled down off the site. And it's recognized as being fake news. It loses circulation. It's demoted by Facebook. So this guy that is, Mark Thompson, the New York Times CEO, I agree with him on this. Surprisingly, it's a New York Times, but I guess a broken clock is right 2 times a day. According to Mark Thompson, he said the process of citizens making up their own mind which news sources to believe is messy and can indeed lead to fake news. But to rob them of that ability and to replace the straightforward accountability of editors and publishers for the news that they produce with a centralized trust algorithm will not make our democracy healthier, but it will damage it further. That's what Thompson said in a keynote lecture. And at the same time, while I understand that the United States is not a democracy, it's a republic, I think that this isn't an important point to make, because people should have the liberty to decide and the freedom to decide as to if a publication is credible or not. And if they will believe fake news, then that's on them. That's their fault. While I understand that disinformation can be a problem, at the same time, you can't play like a tyrant and then begin intervening and trying to be the ultimate arbiter of deciding what should be recognized as being news and what should not. It's not right, and you're doing a disservice, and in addition to that, you're quite frankly engaging in a certain level of tech authoritarianism. Tech tyranny is basically what it is. And you can't do that, and it shouldn't be done. It's a violation of freedom. It's a violation of freedom of speech, of freedom of press, and at the same time, freedom of press also involves the ability to report things with a slant. That's a mixture of freedom of press and freedom of speech. And if that's going to be recognized as being fake news, well, then I've got news for you. You're alienating and you're rejecting what is covered in the First Amendment, even though they have the complete luxury to do this because they're a private entity and they're not the United States government. I don't know what happened to my voice there. I thought puberty was over with. I'm 20 now, so it should be. But at the same time, while they should be, what was I saying? They should be supportive of the First Amendment. They are attacking Donald Trump, accusing Trump of being anti-freedom of press, anti-freedom of speech, and all this other stuff because he's critical of the fake news media. But at the same time, what are they saying? They're saying we've got to ensure that our readers, that the members of our websites or social media networks are aware of what is fake news and are aware of what is real news. So what are they expressing then? They're expressing that they hold anti-freedom of speech and anti-freedom of press beliefs. And they are developing that as values of their company, where they oppose freedom of speech and freedom of press, only views of what they find to be reputable. And I think that that's something that's rather concerning. But anyway, guys, I want to thank you for listening to us. For more information on the Caiden Cowger program, go to CaidenCowgerProgram.com. And for the latest news exposing the left, go to CowgerNation.com. Thank you, God bless, and God save this nation.